Welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to be giving you guys my July reading wrap up and my August TBR. So I'm going to put them both in one video because people usually make separate videos, but I didn't read that many books, so I'll just put them together. The first book that I read in July was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is summer vibe. In this book we have Piper as the main character, and she is from LA, and she's sort of like this influencer LA girl, and her dad sent her to Westport, Washington, which is like a fisherman town, because he thinks that she doesn't understand the value of money, and he thinks she doesn't know what it's like to have a real job. So he sends her there. And this is a small fishing town. So as soon as she steps into this town, it's obvious that she does not belong. And Brendan notices her and he's like, what is she doing here? And he kind of doesn't like her at first because he's like, why is she here? So he's curious and also protective of the town. And she notices that he doesn't like her, or he gives her this look, and she's like, I don't know why he doesn't like me, but I'm gonna change that. And yeah, I rated this book, I think 4 stars. It was so good. Brendan was so good, and I just liked it. Like, I would reread this book again. Then after that I read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, which is like the second book in, I guess this is a duology or a series. I don't know what she calls it, but this follows her sister Hannah. And I'm not going to talk about this book too much because then it'll give away sort of what happens in the first book. I'm pretty sure you could read it as a standalone, but it's better if you just read it, this one first and then this one. So this follows Hannah, and she's also in Westport because in the first book Hannah follows her sister to Westport because she doesn't want her to be alone. She wasn't sent there, but she just goes for moral support. This book is Friends to Lovers, and I'm not going to say who's on the cover, even though it says in the back. That'll just ruin the first book. But I rated this book 3 stars because it was good. I like the first one better, and I think it was because the male main character was being so annoying about, oh, she can't love me, that like all this stuff, and I'm like, she's literally showing you and you're still over here like, oh no, she can't love me, that like, be so for real. Like, I think that gives me the ick in books because that happened in one of the Abby Jimenez books, and I'm like, they're showing you that they love you, that they like you. Like, it annoys me. The next book I read was The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and I don't have that book because I read it on the Kindle app on my phone. So I don't know if that book is free, like just with the Kindle app, or if it was free with Prime Reading. I don't remember, but it was free, and I didn't have Kindle Unlimited, so it should be on one of those. But anyways, I read that on my phone, and that book basically follows Brooke, and she is some type of nurse at this institution, jail facility, and like part of the job is that you can't have any connections or know anybody that's in the jail, and she doesn't tell them that she does, but she does, and it's her ex-boyfriend, and she's just hoping that he doesn't run into her, or she doesn't run into him, so that he doesn't know. And this story, the way it's formatted is it jumps from past to present, so that's how you kind of get what happened in the past and what's happening now. It was a good book. I just feel that some parts during the past, like when we would jump to the past, I was like, this is not necessary. Why did I read that? I don't know, I just felt like that. So I don't remember what I rated it. I don't remember what I rated it off the top of my head. It's on my Goodreads and I don't know where my phone is. I'll put it on the screen, but I think it was 3.5 stars. Anywho, after that I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this was my first book by this author, and I'm pretty sure her books you have to read them in a certain order, but I don't know what that order is because I think it was the first chapter or something, or like the first few pages, and they mentioned Carrie Soto, and I was like, was I supposed to read that book first? Because I have that book and I know they kind of go together, but I don't know which one I should have read first, this one or the other one. If you know the order that I'm supposed to read these books in, let me know down below, like all of her books, because I have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, like all of those books, so let me know if there's a certain order I should read them in. But I read this book. It was a really good book. I listened to it on audio because I don't think I would have been able to get through this book if I was just reading it, because look at how small the print is. Yeah, and this book was very descriptive, and I think with descriptive books I need to listen to it, because reading it and then picturing it I can't. But if I hear someone like talking about it, and just the way the voice actor was narrating the book, I got a better experience with it. So I read it both with audio and like reading it. But this is a beach book. We basically follow this family that lives in Malibu, and this book is also set up kind of weird, but I like it because it's separated by years, by time. The main plot of the book is this one party. How do I say this? Oh my god. The main plot of this book is this one day, and that day is when they have this big party that everybody goes to. So we start from like, I think it's the day before or that day, like in the morning, all the way to like the next day at like 5 or 7 in the morning. I don't know, it's somewhere like that, but it's one day. But there's also this other plot of what happened in the past with like the parents and stuff. It's really interesting, and the ending, I was like, wow, it was just good. It's fiction. I don't think it's a romance, because there's like some romance in there, but not really. But this book was really good. I rated it 4 stars. I'm pretty sure I would recommend this book. The next book that I read, well, the next 2 books that I read were from Kindle Unlimited, because I bought a Kindle in July. This is her. I'll give y'all a little tour. It says Hot Girl Book Club. The book was better. I love the Irish. Niall. This cute book stack with a bow. This book. Hello Lovers for Niall. Connie Baby, if you know, you know. Boys World Pop Socket. And then this sticker says, all I need is iced coffee and spicy books, because yes. And then this one fell, but it's a worm with books, and it says bookworm. It's so cute. And then this one says, but daddy, he's Ivan Luco. Like, that man, #1 book boyfriend as of right now. And then right here we have DW's library card, because DW is just iconic. She is that girl. Anywho, so the next book that I read was on Kindle Unlimited, and I read it on my Kindle, and that is Mile High by Liz Tomford, and it's the first book in the Windy City series. And this book was a hockey romance book, and we follow Stevie, and she's a flight attendant for this NHL hockey team from Chicago, and the team is called the Raptors. And in this book, she's this like confident girl, and there's this guy on the plane, Xander's, and he is very cocky and just full of himself. And so on the plane, he's like, oh, could I get a sparkling water with lemon? And she's like, she looks at him, and she knows that he's this way, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna let him tell me what to do, even though it's my job, but everyone else is doing it, so he can do it too. And she tells him, you can get it yourself. And then he doesn't like that, so he's like, I'm gonna make sure this girl knows who she works for, because ain't no way. Because I think everybody that has worked for him, they just do what he says, and she doesn't care, and that like intrigues him, so he gets curious. Yeah, this book was so good, and just the connection, and even like the side characters, I loved all of them. So just the way that Liz Tomford writes, I love it. I love it. This book was so good. I rated it 4.5 stars because it was so good. I loved it. Yeah, so y'all should read that book, because it was the best. And then the next book that I read was the second book in the Windy City series, and that was The Right Move by Liz Tomford. And this one follows Stevie's brother, Ryan Shea, and he is an NBA basketball player. And if you don't want spoilers, skip, but if you do, keep watching. And it also follows Indy Ivers, and she was a flight attendant on the NHL hockey team, The Plane, from the first book, and she's also Stevie's best friend. And this second book follows them, and this one is like fake dating trope, but it was really good. I liked it, but I think I don't know, because I loved Indy. She was a book girl and he read too, and he was introverted and she was more extroverted. So yeah, but overall I rated that book 4.5 stars because it was really good. I love the chemistry that they both had, and again, like the side characters and just the whole book. Like I didn't feel like any part was unnecessary or didn't contribute to like the story. I feel like everything in that book was necessary. Okay, now let's get into my August TBR. So I read 6 books in July, so I'm gonna pick about 8 or 9 books to read in August, and that's being very hopeful because I think I typically read like 6 books in a month, but during school it's like 1 or 2 because I'm distracted. Anywho, the first book on my TBR is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I'm actually reading this book right now because I had placed a hold on it at the library when it first came out, and it was like, oh, you're number 20 in line. And then I checked this week and it said that my hold was ready to be picked up, and I was like, oh. I started reading it. I'm like 10 pages in, but so far I like it, and this is on my TBR because I have yet to read it. So this book, I don't know what it's about, but what I know is that I think she's a teacher or something, like an English teacher or a writer, and she gets sent to her favorite book's town. Like she gets stuck in it. I could be wrong, but I don't like reading the back of the books like right before I read it because then I feel like it gives it away. I read them before I buy them or before I check them out. The next book on my TBR is Every Summer After. I'm pretty sure this is like, it's a second chance romance. This was like the first book that I bought after I got into reading, and I have yet to read it, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's still on my shelf. So I want to read this book before summer is over because I've literally had this book for forever and I haven't read it yet. And this book was the first book when I went to Barnes & Noble for the first time in like, I think ever actually. I asked one of the workers, oh, do you guys have this book in stock? And I think it had just came out like that month or that year. And she looked and they didn't have any out. That's why I asked, because maybe they had them in the back. And she's like, no, we don't have them. So I ordered it on Amazon. But I don't know what it's about, but it's giving summer. So next book I want to read is Carrie Soto Is Back, because I read Malibu Rising, and this one is a tennis book. I don't know what it's about other than it's tennis, and I play tennis, so I want to read it. And I think it's pretty short. It's like 370 pages. The next book that I want to read is controversial, but it's coming out in theaters in a week, and I want to read this book. And if I like it, then I'll go watch the movie. And that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I have not read any of her books, but I have most of them. So I don't know what this one's about. I know there's trigger warnings and stuff like that, but I want to read it because everybody on TikTok talks about it, and I don't even know what it's about at this point. I know there's like a flower shop. That's it. And if I like it, then I'll read the next book. But if I don't like it, then I'm not going to read this one. But these 2 books are on my TBR. I've had them for a while and I need to read them. Next book I want to read is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This book, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's like about a teacher, but there's not even that much on the back of the book that tells me what this is about. So I can't really tell you what it's about. After that, I want to read Caught Up by Liz Tomford, which is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and I believe it follows Kai, and he's like an MLB baseball player. That's all I know. I don't even have the book, so I can't tell you what's on the back of it, but I'm gonna read it on Kindle Unlimited. And then the next book that I want to read after that is Play Along by Liz Tomford, and that's the 4th book in the Windy City series. And that book, I don't even know who it follows. I know the girl's name is Kennedy. I don't know what the guy's name is. I think that one's also a baseball romance. That one just came out like this month. Well, in July. So I want to read that one too. Those are all the books that I want to read in the month of August. I'll let y'all know in September what books I ended up reading. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below what books you guys want to read in August. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.